Hello, my friends, and thank you for joining us in today's training. Let's have a heart-to-heart today. If you were 100% honest with yourself, would you say that you already know some of the things that you're great at? And would you agree with me that you also already know the areas where you could absolutely improve right now, whether it's about your character and your behavior, which would influence your personal brand, whether it's about your communication, whether it is about your network and connecting with your allies, your mentors, and maybe sponsors that can support you in your career growth. The statistics say that most of us will earn higher compensation by having mentors because they will expose us to their network and because they rely on their seniority, credibility, and reputation to support us. Here's the thing. We already know what we need to improve in many different areas of our lives, whether it's directly speaking about our careers, which is where I focus in helping most of my clients. I also help with personal stuff because it's all blending one into the other. Whether it's in your career, in your finances, in your health and nutrition, in your spiritual life, your connection to a higher power, if you believe in one, or your connection to self, whether it's your physical environment where you live, your physical space, and whether it is about personal development, professional growth, your community, any of these major areas in your life, I want to challenge you today. I bet, and I'm willing to bet, that you already have clarity around areas that you can improve. Your gut, or as Marie Forleo calls it, your IGS, your internal guidance system, it's already speaking with you, to you, about you. And the only job that we need to do is to be quiet so we can listen. So if you say, yes, Ginny, you are right. Absolutely. I know exactly the areas where I can already make progress and areas that I've been struggling with that I would love to overcome the challenges that I'm facing there. Yes, I know what they are. Congratulations. You have been listening to your IGS. And on the other hand, if you're someone who says, Jenny, I'm not really clear on what's holding me back, how come I'm not advancing and growing in my role? I'm not sure why my relationships are not thriving, why I'm not feeling fulfilled. I don't feel a sense of belonging. I feel lackluster in my personal life or in my relationships at work. If you are in that space where you're not 100%, you don't have your finger on the pulse about what's happening with you, by the way, also where you're thriving and where you're not. If you don't have the pulse on that, all it means it's a warning signal that I'm encouraging you to explore and be quiet so you can tap into it. So how do I do that, Ginny? How do I be quiet and listen to my IGS? We listen to our internal guidance system, to our intuition, which is the same thing, simply by creating a moment of silence. I know, rocket science. How do we do that? Create a moment of silence in this busy, loud, noisy world that we live in. Well, the number one strategy is if you don't give yourself that moment, no one is going to give it to you. And you may say, Ginny, I don't have the time, just like everyone else around us. And it's a mindset that I am working on shifting it because the I don't have time excuse is quite frankly getting old. We all have the same 24 hours. So how come some people are able to accomplish so many different things in those 24 hours while I'm struggling over here, not even finding 5 to 10 minutes for quiet time? Great question. The difference is that we all get to prioritize our free time, if you want to call it free time. What are you doing when you're not at work, when you're not taking care of the home, when you're not taking care of the kids, when you're not taking care of an elderly parent? What happens during those down times? What are you doing? Let's, number one, begin to raise awareness around what's happening. Because unless you become very self-aware of and mindful of what am I doing with my free time, you won't be able to create a quiet time, the 5 to 10 minutes to listen to your intuition, so that as you listen, it will guide you in the right direction for you. I can't tell you what that direction is. No one else can. No one can tell me what that direction is. But if I pay attention, I will listen to what my body, what my soul, what my higher power, the divine, whatever you want to call that, IGS or intuition is, and it will share with you exactly where you need to go, what you need to do, how you need to be next. So number one, let's create that quiet time, and let's stop the excuses that I don't have time, because quite frankly, speaking personally, that's a story that we keep telling ourselves. There's plenty of time. What can you remove from your life that is sucking the time out of your day? It could be social media. It could be getting lost in a YouTube video. It could be over education, where you are listening and reading and constantly learning to the extreme so that you don't have quiet time. So let's create and carve out that 10 to 15 minutes, 5 minutes of quiet time. And when you're quiet, ask whatever questions you want to ask, such as, I'm listening. What do I need to hear? And listen to yourself. I promise you, you are going to hear a voice, you're going to see a picture in your head, you're going to see images, you're going to get the information. And what I would suggest is, when you do get this communication, which you will, that you journal it, that you write it down somewhere so that you can then process it. It takes time when we are being divinely guided or self-guided to digest the messages that we receive. And don't be shocked if you start to see different images or hear different voices. It could be the voice of your own or someone else in your life. Don't be surprised if what you receive seems odd, or it seems like it's not what's happening today. Because sometimes those messages are of what's coming. Sometimes those messages are simply images for us to contemplate and ask yourself, what do these mean to me today? Write down the date. And then later, when you have an experience that reminds you of that one time when you sat down and you received these images and these messages or heard this communication, you will then be able to correlate it and go, oh my goodness, what I'm experiencing right now reminds me of that time when I sat down. And all I'm talking about, my friends, is really tapping into all of your resources. And I talk about this in my book, Healing Leadership. We have so much and so many untapped resources. It's not even funny. This happens to me all the time. I used to be in my house, and I would be packing to go someplace, and I would just get a message of, grab that thing that's on the table over there, or don't forget to bring this one thing. And sometimes I could not explain why this thought came into my head. And I would go grab whatever it was, an extra sweater, an extra sweatshirt, whatever the case may be, put it in my bag. And sure enough, later that day or the next day, what was I using? The item that my communication told me to bring with me, even though the day was sunny and warm and there was no sign at the moment that I was going to need that item. One of the things I've been doing over the last 20 plus years is honing my intuition, honing, listening to myself, to that resource that lies within me. And so, my friends, you already know the areas that need to improve so that your life and career can improve. Let's stop playing like we don't. Okay. And I say that with love and compassion. Let's stop pretending that we don't have clarity as to what to do next. And instead, I am encouraging you to make a choice today to be willing to listen to yourself, to listen to the guidance that comes to you when you are quiet, and to pick one proactive step that you will take toward those improvements that you already know about in whatever area of your life. I know sometimes we find ourselves in a hole and we think, Ginny, how can I possibly get out of this hole? There's just no way. The perfect example for me was my personal life, my romantic life. I always found, and I've shared this with you before, that all these areas in my life were working beautifully. And when it comes to my romantic life, I found that was my valley. It was always some type of hole where I was always digging myself out of. And for a long time, I lost hope. For a long time, I thought, well, maybe, Ginny, you're just meant to be alone. You're meant to be by yourself. But I knew there was a little voice inside of me that said, no, there's more. No, there is more joy. No, there is more happiness. Not from a place of, oh, I'm less than if I don't get that, but more from a place of, I am a loving being. I am someone who's kind. I am someone who loves people, who wants to have a positive impact, uplift others, support others, just like you and so many other humans. And so if that's me, the belief that my situation in my romantic life was my reality and my truth was a belief that I was not willing to accept. So, what are you not willing to accept anymore in whatever area of your life? And today you are making the conscious choice to listen to your inner guidance and do something about it. So, if this is you, my friends, I'm so grateful that you are listening to this training today because that's the message that I want to leave you with. And it's never too soon. It's never too late. This is the exact perfect moment when you needed to listen to this. And I am so grateful that we got to share this today with each other. I am getting ready to deliver today a presentation and training for one of my partners on cultivating strong relationships, mentors, and partners. The learning is always ongoing. We're always on a journey. There is no destination. And I'm so grateful that you are here with us learning and growing. And I invite you to check out executivebound.com/events because I'm always putting on some complimentary training for you to enjoy, to benefit from it, and to also get a taste of what it's like to work with us at Executive Bound. We're here to support you any way that we can. And we are going to leverage all of our resources to do that, including my unique value proposition, my background, my history, my experience, my expertise. All of it is available to all of our clients. Thank you so much for being part of this community. Live with purpose, live with joy.